I would prefer that you call it germinal epithelium instead of visceral peritoneum, but it's not a deal breaker. I mean, if you put visceral peritoneum down, I'll mark it correct. Okay, but it's germinal epithelium. The outer layer in the wall of or the outermost region in the wall of the ovary is the cortex. That's where all the developing follicles are. The deep part that has the blood vessels in it is the medulla, and the tough capsule on the outside of the cortex is the tunica albuginea. So the male testis has a tunica albuginea, the ovary of the female has tunica albuginea also. This ligament right here is the one that connects to the uterus, so this is ovarian ligament. This ligament up here is part of the broad ligament. It happens to be called mesovarium. I would not ask you that because it's not on the structure list now. Okay, but that's the basic introduction to that. Then here this model is good and bad at the same time. They show you a whole bunch of follicle stages, but they show them all at the same moment. And you never ever see them all at the same moment. Out in the cortical area, pre-puberty, you're going to have like 200,000 primary follicles. All these little yellow spheres represent some of those follicles. So picture this as like crammed full of primary follicles. We have them here, we have them here. They should have showed more of it, but they didn't. Okay. At the beginning of the 28-day period, FSH from the anterior pituitary is going to cause a group of those follicles, 10 or 12 of them, to start to mature. Okay? And as they mature, they get bigger, they reach what we call a secondary stage. Ultimately, by day 15, we get to the mature stage, which is called Graafian follicle. Usually, only one of those follicles goes the distant. The other ones just go by the wayside. And what this model shows is that. It shows primary follicles here. This is a secondary follicle, but I think in Dr. Sinclair's manual, she just says growing follicle. So growing is going to be cool. Okay. Here we have a smaller one. Here's a slightly bigger one. Here's one at day 15. And the thing about this follicle is, this is actually captured in the process of ovulation. So prior to ovulation, the ovum is actually sitting in a little compartment in the back of the back side of that follicle. This doesn't show that. This shows the ovum in the process of being expelled. But I can live with that. Okay, this is a mature follicle in the process of ovulation. So that ovum is going to be expelled, hopefully picked up by the infundibulum of the fallopian tube, and then we just progress. The empty follicle is going to fill with blood, and it's going to become this. Now this doesn't physically move over here, but at that site, it's going to look like this. That's called corpus hemorrhagicum. Easy to remember because it's got blood in it. Then very, very rapidly, that closes off, the blood's absorbed, and this becomes this big yellow structure over here. That is the corpus luteum. So what was the mature follicle that ovulated under the influence of LH from the anterior pituitary becomes corpus hemorrhagicum, and that becomes the corpus luteum. And that pumps out large quantities of progestins, estrogens, until day 24. Then this dies, and it becomes scar tissue. And the scar tissue is the corpus albicans. At first, the scar tissue is big, then it regresses, it gets smaller. But the interesting thing is, for every time an ovary ovulated in your lifetime, a new corpus albicans is going to be formed. So you could actually count those up in an autopsy. You could figure how many times the ovary ovulated, if you're accurate. That's it. Okay. So